All right, welcome today. It is Wednesday. I think the next time we'll probably see each other is Monday of next week. Because tomorrow we have MCAs. So you have the day off with that. And so for Thursday, Friday, we are well, definitely for Thursday, it's going to be an asynchronous day. So you don't have to worry about checking in. I will not have a Google Meet tomorrow. Friday, we won't have a live Google Meet on Friday. We'll just continue with the activity that you will be doing for tomorrow. And also tomorrow, I had sent out a notice, as well as Park High has sent out a notice, or the district did. A citizenship test is what you should be doing tomorrow, in addition to anything else for your other classes that you have. So that citizenship test opens from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. All right. So it's about a 50 question, civics related. See how well you know the government and our political system. All right. So any questions related to that? Would not worry if you don't necessarily score high on the citizenship test. There's you don't have to worry about any repercussions, I would say. All right, with that. It's not like they are going to all of a sudden show up at your door and lecture you in some way. All right, it's just a new state statute that we need to do. All right. So with that, I do want to talk a little bit about Thursday as well as with Friday. And with that, today the authoritarian case study ends, and so you want to make sure you get that done. And so I'll in a moment I'll cut you loose with that. And so that means we're going to move on to our last unit of study, and that's going to be on the Cold War. And so when you look at the Cold War, remember, it's that ideological war between us and them being the Soviet Union. And so for about 45 years, we will engage in that ideological war. So from about 1945, 1991. And so as we study the Cold War, we're going to see, the foundations of it, how it plays out, and then how it comes to an end. How it ends seems to be very abruptly. It comes to a conclusion. I mean, I'm a senior in college, and all my life I've known that we're in a Cold War, and the next thing you know, we are done, pretty much, with the Cold War, the opening of the Berlin Wall, and a few years later, so with that, for Thursday and Friday, I want you to look at the steps, the foundation pieces of the Cold War. So we're looking at really the end of the Second World War as it's come to a conclusion, up to, one could say, the end of the Berlin blockade, or the first Berlin crisis. There, we're kind of like feeling out the landscape and defining some of our early thoughts. And so I had opened up earlier this week this activity, the Cold War steps, right? And you're going to create, it's a visual vocabulary. We did something similar to this for the causes of the Great Depression, all right? And so the assignment here is what the assignment looks like. You are looking at 8 steps, and you're using the chapters 2 and 3 in your textbook. You can do this on paper. You can do this in Knowability. You can do this on Google Slide. There needs to be a visual, and the visual, again, is more drawn, all right? Preferably, if we're looking at that. But ultimately, I want you to get an understanding of what these events are. Okay, and so that's what we'll be working on tomorrow and Friday and Monday. we'll debrief this, and then we'll go forward with it. So not necessarily how I envision us starting the Cold War unit, but as we know with our schedule, it's always in flux here, and so this week, no different. It's going to be in flux. So when you get done with the authoritarian studies activity, you can dig in on this. If you want to use a big piece of paper back there, you go right ahead. You do that. But know that we have a 2-day activity here on the Cold War steps. Okay, so any questions? I threw a lot at you. Any questions about Thursday, Friday, citizenship test, and this? Any questions related to that? Wow, none. Okay. Final thoughts here is, since we are looking at authoritarian regimes, and I have mentioned at times the idea of democracy, what we see here is around the world, there seems to be a support for democratic principles. You know, the idea of fair justice, gender equality, freedom of religion, free speech. This is not just in the United States. This is around the world. Press freedom, freedom on the internet, all that stuff. There seems to be a general, and looks like we've got 34 countries that are being surveyed here. There's a feeling for support for democratic principles. But when we look at reality here, globally, there seems to be a dissatisfaction, though, with democracy. Even though we like it, the ideas, satisfaction with democracy, 52% are not satisfied with it. If we look at the United States and our neighbor to the north of us, we do have a stark difference. And so this could represent maybe the polarization that we're experiencing in our society right now. 59% of Americans are not satisfied with democracy. However, Canadians, 66%, are satisfied with it. Is that something to be concerned with? Is that something to be concerned with? We break that down a little bit here. Those who believe elected officials do not care are more dissatisfied. Again, if we look at the U.S., 65% are dissatisfied with our with elected officials. Not surprised there. Just something to think and marinate on as we move through these next few years with our idea of democracy and see if we can weather it. We have had some difficult times, a test to our democracy at times, so we'll see if we can swing it around. All right, so are there any questions at home or here? Well, you have about an hour to seal the deal on your authoritarian case study and submit. If you go on the hall, go ahead. Those at home, let's get your task done.